The galaxy listened. In the grand chamber of the Dominion Council, General Voronka stood beneath banners of red and gold. His armor gleamed under the hollow light. Ceremonial scars etched deep into the plates. Marks of his victories, carved in the blood of conquered worlds. His voice carried through translators, filling every broadcast channel from the core systems to the farthest frontier. Humans, he said with contempt. Fragile, thin-skinned. Their hearts pound like prey animals. They cower behind fleets, machines, and shields. They mistake caution for courage. They are not warriors, they are vermin. Ripples of laughter rolled across the chamber, the guttural sound of a dozen species echoing the insult. Voronka spread his four-fingered hands, as though presenting a conclusion already proven. I have fought the proud houses of Other, the iron ranks of the Urin, the flame-born zealots of the Drak. I bled in their wars and earned scars worth respect. But humans... His mandibles clicked in disdain. They break before they bleed. Their so-called armies collapse if pressed. Their colonies surrender before the first shot lands. The Terran Federation is not a threat. It is an inconvenience. His words cut through the galaxy like a blade. Broadcasts beamed into Earth cities, Martian domes, and orbital colonies. People paused at their work, staring at the towering alien frame in contempt. Some clenched fists, some looked away, but no one laughed. On the secure floors of the United Terran Federation's High Command in Geneva, silence followed the broadcast. Generals, ministers, and admirals sat in rows before a holodeble, its surface aglow with the shifting image of Cryon 7, the next target on Voronka's path. The planet pulsed red under Dominion control, its mind stripped, its people enslaved. Minister Aoki broke the silence. He's not wrong about one thing. If we try to match them fleet to fleet, we'll be buried. The admiral opposite her slammed a hand on the table. So what then? Do we let the bastard parade our colonies like trophies? Do we answer arrogance with silence? Across the table, Director Hayes leaned forward. His hair had gone white, his face creased with years of secrets and burdens. We don't answer with silence, he said slowly. We answer with fear. Eyes turned to him. Hayes tapped the command. The holodeble flickered, shifting from maps of Cryon. 7 to 2 dossiers. The first, Jack Harper. The second, Darius Cole. Both images were grainy, as though the men themselves refused clarity. They called them the Boogeymen. Hayes continued. Old legends from the Black Files. Harper served in the Marines, Cole in the Navy SEALs. Both recruited into operations we buried so deep even our own agencies denied them. When colonies needed to believe in shadows, when enemies needed to vanish, we sent these two. The Admiral frowned. 2 men against an empire? That's your answer. Not men, Hayes corrected. Myths. And myths spread faster than fleets. A pause lingered over the table. Some scoffed, some exchanged uneasy glances. Only Minister Aoki asked the question they were all thinking. Will they go? Hayes smiled faintly, the weary smile of a man who already knew. The transport ship Eidolon hummed as it cut through slip space, stars bending into streaks beyond the hull. Its interior was quiet, stripped for stealth, its corridors dimly lit. In a small operations bay, Jack Harper sat alone, running cloth over the matte barrel of his rifle. His movements were precise, methodical, a ritual of calm. His face was expressionless, the kind of stillness earned from years of violence carried too far to be shaken now. Cole entered with a clatter of boots and a grin. He carried a bottle of recycled whiskey, cheap and sharp, swigging without a glass. Well, Cole said, settling into the chair across from him, we made galactic news. Big scary general says we're all cowards. Guess Mom was wrong. I did amount to something. Jack didn't look up. He slid the bolt into place, checked the mechanism, and spoke flatly. He believes it. That's why he'll bleed. Cole laughed. You always go straight to the poetry of killing. Can't just admit it's fun making bastards choke on their own arrogance. Jack set the rifle aside and finally met his eyes. Fun isn't why we're here. Fear is. For a moment a grin slipped from Cole's face. He leaned back, twirling the bottle idly. Fear. Right. The grand plan. Scare the unscarable. Make the monsters check under their bunks at night. He smirked again, but softer this time, and with a bedtime story. Neither man spoke for a while. The Eidolon thrummed with steady silence, carrying them closer to Cryon 7. Back in the Dominion War Council, Voron stood tall, basking in applause. His declaration had already spread across networks, seeding certainty in alien minds. To him, the humans were already defeated. He raised a hand, commanding attention. "Let the record show," he said, "that the Threx Dominion does not waste fleets on insects. Cryon 7 will fall within a cycle. Earth will watch and learn humility. The galaxy will witness the weakness of these so-called Terrans. And when history is written, it will remember this day as the day humanity's myth died before it began." He believed it, and light years away, two men prepared to prove him wrong. The Eidolon's commander, a silent officer who hadn't dared question his passengers, entered the bay. "Approach in 5 hours," he reported. His voice faltered slightly. Rumors about Harper and Cole had reached even him. Jack rose, checking his gear with quiet efficiency. Cole capped the bottle, tossing it into a locker without ceremony. The commander hesitated. "Do you need anything before insertion?" Cole grinned wide. "Yeah, a good ghost story. Ever heard the one about two humans who scared an empire to death?" The commander blinked, unsure whether it was a joke. Jack answered for him. "You'll hear it soon enough." The officer nodded and left quickly, the hatch ceiling shut. Silence returned. Cole leaned forward, elbows on knees. "Jack, you ever think maybe this is too much? 2 of us hold Dominion Army. Maybe the galaxy doesn't need bedtime monsters. Maybe it needs—" Jack cut him off. "It needs proof. Proof that we're not prey. Proof that when you call us cowards, you don't wake the weak. You wake the hunters." Cole studied him, then chuckled quietly. "Damn, that almost sounded inspiring." Jack didn't reply. He simply checked the rifle one last time, then sat in the dim light, waiting. 5 hours until Cryon 7. 5 hours until the myth became real. The sky over Cryon 7 was the color of ash. Smoke clung low to the mining colonies, drifting between broken towers and scorched soil. Dominion banners hung from steel frames, bright crimson against the ruin. Patrols marched through the rubble, their insectoid limbs clattering, their rifles slung carelessly as though conquest had already numbed them. Hidden in the husk of a collapsed hablock, Jack Harper watched through the cracked visor of a shattered window. His rifle rested against the sill, its matte barrel wrapped in fabric to kill the glint of metal. He studied the alien soldiers below, 6 in formation, moving with lazy confidence. Their movement spoke louder than any speech Voronka had given. They didn't expect resistance. Behind him, Darius Cole crouched against the wall, chewing on a strip of ration jerky like it was the last luxury in the galaxy. "Marching like parade day," Cole muttered. "Guess no one told them about us yet." Jack didn't look back. "They'll learn." Cole smirked, cold as ever. He pulled a small device from his pack, a cluster of jury-rigged explosives tied together with tape and wire. He tapped it with his knuckle. "Want to give them a lesson now, or wait till the class is bigger?" Jack kept his eyes on the patrol. "Wait. Fear spreads better when there are survivors." Cole chuckled. "Now you're speaking my language." Their first strike came hours later. A Dominion supply convoy rolled along the cracked highway that once connected the colony's central hub to its outer settlements. Enormous haulers, plated in armor, trundled forward with escort vehicles bristling with weapons. The aliens drove openly, banners fluttering from their machines. In the shadows of a ravine, Jack and Cole waited. Jack lay prone, rifle steady, scope aligned on the lead escort. Cole crouched by the rock wall, wires looped through his fingers, his grin sharp in the gloom. "Ready?" Cole whispered. Jack exhaled slowly. "Do it." Cole flicked the switch. The road erupted, an explosion shattering the lead hauler's front axle, flipping the vehicle into the air. The convoy halted in chaos. Aliens scrambled, weapons raised. Before they could form ranks, Jack fired. 1 shot, 1 kill. Another, then another. His rounds cracked like whispers, each alien dropping before the sound echoed. Cole rolled from cover, hurling a second charge. It struck a hauler's fuel pod, engulfing it in fire. Screams echoed through the canyon, high-pitched and guttural. The remaining soldiers broke, scattering for cover that wasn't there. Jack didn't fire at all of them. Some he left alive, terrified, scrambling, retreating into the smoke. Cole noticed. Letting them run, huh? Jack adjusted the bolt of his rifle. They'll tell the story. Cole grinned wide. Ghosts in the rocks. Not bad. By nightfall, Cryon 7 had changed. Rumor spread through Dominion ranks. Whispers of unseen killers, of shadows in ruins, of convoy crews slaughtered by phantoms. Patrols doubled their numbers. Spotlights scanned the streets. Entire squads fired into empty buildings at the sound of falling pipe. Jack and Cole moved among the wreckage unseen, silent steps through broken alleys and burned-out factories. They weren't soldiers on a battlefield. They were predators in a cage filled with prey that thought itself master. In one shattered settlement, they watched a group of Dominion soldiers drag human prisoners through the square. The captives, miners, engineers, families, were lined against the wall as examples. One alien officer raised his blade, preparing to execute. Cole tensed. "We stopping this?" Jack's reply was cold, clean. 2 suppressed shots. The officer crumpled before his weapon fell. Confusion erupted. Soldiers turned in panic, searching the shadows. Another fell, then another. Cole lobbed a flash charge, blinding the square in searing white. By the time vision returned, the prisoners were gone, vanished into the alleys with Jack and Cole leading them. In a dark cellar, the rescued colonists huddled, trembling between gratitude and terror. One miner spoke in a cracked voice. "What are you? Resistance?" "Soldiers." Cole smirked but let Jack answer. "We're no one," Jack said. "You didn't see us. You don't know us. But you'll live. That's enough." The colonists nodded, some whispering prayers. Cole leaned against the wall, whispering low to Jack. "No one, huh? Feels like we're writing ghost stories already." Word of the attacks reached Vorin Ka within a day. In the Dominion command post, a fortress of steel and crimson banners. The general towered above his officers. Reports scrolled across holoscreens. Missing convoys, dead patrols, survivors babbling of invisible humans. 2 men. Vorin Ka's voice shook with disbelief. "You expect me to believe 2 humans did this?" An officer bowed, mandibles clicking nervously. "General, the survivors swear they saw nothing. Only strikes from shadows, precision kills. They speak of phantoms." "Phantoms," Vorin Ka repeated, disgust dripping from the word. "Superstition." His mandibles snapped shut. "Double patrols. Burn every ruin. Drag the humans into the open. I will not have my army spooked by children's tales." But he saw it, the unease in his officers' posture, the shift in their eyes. Even the Dominion's iron discipline bent under fear of the unseen. That night, Jack and Cole lay in the rubble of a tower overlooking the command fortress. Through cracked concrete, they watched searchlights sweep across the colony, hunting for them. Cole popped a cracker from a ration pack into his mouth. So far, so good. They're jumpier than a rookie on his first drop. Jack adjusted his scope, studying the fortress. Fear works, but fear alone won't win. We bleed them, then we cut off the head. Cole raised his brows. Straight to the general. "Huh?" Not wasting time. "He made it personal," Jack said. Cole smirked, shaking his head. "Guess bedtime stories don't end with a happy moral." "Good. Would have been disappointed otherwise." They lay in silence, watching the Dominion fortress glow red against the ash sky. The ghosts of Cryon. 7 were just getting started. On Cryon 7, Dominion soldiers marched in tighter formations, eyes flicking shadows as though the ruins themselves were alive. Convoys crawled along the highways under heavy guard, their gunners firing at nothing, at echoes, at broken windows, at the imagined figures haunting their every step. The more they tried to crush the whispers, the louder those whispers grew. Jack Harper crouched on the ledge of a collapsed refinery tower, rifle balanced against twisted steel. Through the scope, He tracked a squad of alien soldiers trudging along the street below. Their armor gleamed in the glow of their lamps, but their posture betrayed unease. They scanned every shadow, every broken window, expecting death. Cole lay beside him, chewing on a fragment of dried fruit with infuriating nonchalance. They looked like kids walking home from a horror show. Jack's finger rested lightly on the trigger, but he didn't fire. Fear's doing the work for us. Cole smirked. Yeah, but let's give them a little reminder. He pulled a compact drone from his pack, its surface scratched from years of use. With a few taps, the machine lifted silently, slipping into the night sky. Seconds later, it drifted above the squad. Cole triggered its charge. A concussive blast rocked the street, throwing the squad into chaos. They screamed, firing wildly into walls and rubble. Jack fired once, dropping their officer. Cole laughed quietly. See? Nothing like a little nudge. The survivors ran, leaving their dead. The drone circled back and landed in Cole's palm. He tucked it away with a grin. By the week's end, the ghosts had become legend. Entire patrols refused to move at night. Ammunition stocks drained from soldiers firing at empty air. Commanders shouted, threatened, and executed deserters. But the cracks only widened. Jack and Cole escalated. They struck supply depots, planting explosives with surgical precision. Fuel silos went up in fireballs that lit the night sky. Ammunition caches detonated with the force of small suns. Entire columns of Dominion armor burned in the streets before their engines even warmed. Each strike was planned with ruthless efficiency. Jack handled the logistics, routes, timings, kill zones. Cole injected chaos, decoys, booby traps, theatrical flourishes designed to make the survivors question reality. One night, they left Dominion helmets hanging from lampposts. Another, they rigged speakers to play distorted human voices through the ruins. Whispers, laughter, the sound of boots circling unseen. The Dominion called them demons. The humans called them boogeymen. General Voronka raged. Inside his fortress, reports piled on his desk. Convoys destroyed, depots gone, troops refusing orders. He slammed his clawed hand against the table, denting the alloy surface. 2 humans. His mandibles clattered furiously. 2 insects bleeding my army dry. Tell me, what excuse do you bring today? His officers shifted uneasily. One finally spoke. General, they strike with precision. They vanish before our sensors can catch them. Our men are afraid. Afraid? Voronka spat the word. Of prey. He leaned over the officer, towering. Fear is weakness. Weakness spreads. Burn it out. The officer bowed, trembling. We are trying, General, but the humans, they fight like shadows. Voronka turned away, his massive frame trembling with fury. Then we will drag shadows into the light. Release the war beasts. Triple the patrols. I want the humans' corpses displayed on Cryon. 7 before the cycle ends. In the ruins, Jack stitched a fresh map of Dominion supply lines across a cracked wall with chalk. Cole leaned against the rubble, arms crossed. They're bleeding hard, Cole said. Convoys down, depots empty. You'd think they'd cut their losses by now. They won't, Jack replied. Arrogance doesn't retreat. It doubles down. Cole grinned. Good. More toys for us to break. Jack studied him for a long moment. Don't lose focus. Focus? Cole spread his hands. This is my focus. Making them jump at shadows. Making them wonder if the next step is their last. That's the whole point. Jack's jaw tightened. Point is ending this. Fear is a tool, not the goal. Cole chuckled. You always did suck at enjoying the work. Jack ignored the jab, marking another target. Command depot. If we take it, we get codes, schedules, everything. That bleeds more than convoys. Cole's grin sharpened. Now you're talking. The depot stood at the heart of a gutted industrial block, shielded by barricades and heavy guns. Dominion soldiers patrolled its perimeter in nervous circles. Jack and Cole watched from a ruined rooftop, under the cover of darkness. Jack calculated ranges, positions, and guard patterns. Cole slipped explosives from his pack. Fingers quick, eyes gleaming. "Quiet in, loud out," Jack said. "Just how I like it." They moved, shadows through rubble, silent as smoke. Jack dropped 2 guards with suppressed shots before alarm stirred. Cole slid under a spotlight, planting charges against fuel tanks. The guards above never saw him before he cut their throats. Inside, they moved like phantoms through the depot, slicing through the fences with surgical brutality. Jack hacked the central console, pulling Dominion codes, while Cole rigged half the compound to explode. Alarms wailed too late. Dominion troops rushed in, weapons blazing, only to be met with detonations that turned the depot into a storm of fire. The humans vanished into the night, leaving behind ruins and stolen data. By dawn, Dominion channels buzzed with confusion. Commanders barked in the comms. Codes failed, schedules collapsed. Soldiers whispered of humans who walked through walls, who slaughtered entire squads and left only fire. Voron-Ka smashed a monitor with his fist. "They are not myths," he roared. "They are flesh. Find them." But already, his voice sounded less certain. That night, Jack and Cole sat in the shadows of a collapsed tower, firelight from burning depots reflecting in their eyes. Cole bit into a ration bar, shaking his head. "They're falling apart, Jack. I almost feel bad for them." "You don't." Cole grinned. "You're right, I don't." He leaned forward, voice low. "We're not just killing them. We're rewriting the story. Voron-Ka wanted the galaxy to think we were cowards. Now his troops pray we don't exist." Jack adjusted his rifle, checking the chamber. "Let them pray." Cole laughed softly, the sound carrying over the ruins. Hell of a bedtime story we're writing. Above them, the ash-colored sky burned red with Dominion flames. The ghosts of Cryon. 7 had bled the Empire, and the bleeding had only just begun. The Dominion had had enough of ghosts. At dusk, Cryon 7's ruins lit with new fire. Armored transports roared to the broken streets, unleashing war beasts bred for blood. Hulking quadrupeds with plated hides and jaws capable of shattering steel. Beside them, Dominion trackers advanced, specialists with sensory implants tuned to heat and scent, their armor marked with crimson crests. This wasn't patrol work. It was extermination. From the shadows of a burned-out factory, Jack Harper watched the hunt unfold. His scope caught the unnatural shimmer Dominion lenses, scanning alleys, sniffing the air. The beast padded forward with unnerving silence, nostrils flaring. Jack's grip tightened on his rifle. He had seen predators before, but these weren't predators. They were weapons. Behind him, Darius Cole muttered, "Well, congratulations. We've officially upgraded from rumor to priority." He tapped the hilt of his knife against his leg, restless energy radiating from every movement. "They're not screwing around anymore." Jack's jaw clenched. "We made them bleed. They'll want proof it wasn't shadows." Cole grinned. "Guess that makes us the proof." The first encounter came fast. The beasts found their trail near the refinery ruins, snapping through debris with terrifying speed. Jack dropped the first with 2 shots through its eye, but the second lunged from smoke, jaws clamping around his shoulder before he spun free with a blade thrust into its throat. Pain shot through him. Armor plates slowed the bite, but didn't stop it. Blood seeped down his arm. Jack gritted his teeth, refusing sound. Cole yanked him back into cover, dragging him behind broken machinery. "Damn it, Jack!" Cole hissed, tearing fabric to wrap the wound. "That's not a scratch. That's a chew toy impression." "Move," Jack said, voice flat but tight. Cole pressed harder, eyes sharp. "We move. You bleed out. I'm not carrying your ass across half the planet, because you don't know when to sit still." Jack met his gaze. Then, "Don't carry me. Fight." Cole stared at him a beat, then exhaled through a grin that didn't reach his eyes. "You're a real motivational speaker, you know that?" The hunt tightened. Dominion trackers closed in, moving methodically, cutting off alleys, sealing exits. Their comms echoed across the ruins, commands sharp and practiced. For the first time, the ghosts of Cryon 7 felt a net tightening around them. Jack and Cole slipped through collapsed corridors, weaving between wreckage. Jack moved slower than usual, every step weighed by the wound. Cole adjusted, taking point, his movements sharper, louder, a deliberate distraction. At one junction, Cole stopped, listening to the sound of claws on stone. He glanced back at Jack. "You remember Candor Station?" Jack's eyes narrowed. "What about it?" Cole smirked. "We were trapped. You told me the only way out was through them. Looks like history repeats." Jack's reply was simple. "Then we go through." They turned the trap against the hunters. In a shattered square, Dominion trackers advanced in a tight wedge, war beasts flanking. The moment they entered, charges buried in rubble detonated. Cole's handiwork. Fire and shrapnel tore through the formation, throwing soldiers and beasts alike into chaos. Jack, pale but steady, fired from elevation, each shot finding its mark with mechanical precision. Cole moved like lightning, blade flashing, gun barking, weaving through confusion. He leapt onto a beast's back, driving steel into its skull before rolling away from snapping jaws. But the Dominion weren't amateurs. They regrouped quickly, pressing forward, driven by orders and fear of failure. A blast struck near Jack's perch, throwing him hard against concrete. His vision blurred. His shoulder screamed. Cole dragged him down before the next volley hit. "They're not breaking," he growled. Jack forced breath through clenched teeth. "Make them." They pulled back into the underground tunnels beneath the colony. Darkness swallowed them, broken only by flickering emergency lights. Their footsteps echoed off damp stone. The air stank of rust and old fuel. Cole supported Jack with one arm, muttering curses under his breath. "You know, I signed up for Shadow Wars, not suicide runs against alien hellhounds." Jack's voice was steady despite the pain. "You signed up for war. This is war." Cole gave a dry laugh. "Remind me never to let you write recruitment ads." Behind them, the sound of claws scraped against stone. The beasts had followed them underground, in the narrow tunnels. The hunters had the advantage. Their nostrils flared, jaws dripping as they advanced. Jack and Cole fell back step by step, using corners and choke points, planting charges and walls to collapse passageways behind them. Explosions shook dust and debris loose, slowing pursuit but never ending it. At one dead end, Cole braced Jack against the wall, eyes sharp. "You're fading. Admit it." Jack checked his rifle, ignoring the blood staining his sleeve. "Fading doesn't matter. Ending them does." Cole stared a long moment, then gave a crooked grin. "Hell, you always were the stubborn bastard." He handed Jack a fresh mag fine. "Let's make a stand worth remembering." The beasts lunged into the tunnel. Gunfire roared in confined space, deafening and blinding. Muzzles flashed like lightning. Jack dropped two, precise even through pain. Cole tore into another with a storm of bullets, and a knife slashed across its throat. The last beast slammed Cole into the wall. He gasped, straining against its jaws. Jack, struggling to keep his rifle steady, fired point blank. The beast collapsed on top of Cole, pinning him under its bulk. Cole shoved it off, panting hard. "You're lucky I like you, Harper." Jack reloaded, his hands trembling from blood loss. "You're loud enough to draw more." Cole smirked through exhaustion. "That's the idea." By dawn, the tunnels were silent. The hunters were dead, the beasts broken, the Dominion net torn apart. But Jack leaned heavily against the wall, pale, his shoulders soaked in crimson. Cole crouched beside him, checking the wound. "You need a medic. A real one." Jack shook his head. "No time. Voronka's next." Cole's grin returned, sharp and weary. "You're bleeding out, and you're still thinking about that smug bastard." Jack's eyes hardened. "He called us cowards. We end this." Cole stared, then laughed quietly, shaking his head. "You're insane, but you're right." He stood, offering Jack a hand. "All right then, let's go teach a general what nightmares look like." Jack took it, rising unsteadily. Together they moved deeper into the ruins, two figures against an empire still searching for phantoms. The hunters had come to kill ghosts. Instead, they proved the ghosts were real. The Dominion's war banners draped over Cryon 7's central citadel, crimson and silver catching the morning light. At its heart stood Voronka's command hall, a structure of brutal symmetry, High arches, cold steel, and towering windows overlooking the conquered ruins. Inside, the general presided like a sovereign. His armored form loomed on the raised dais, flanked by honor guards in obsidian plate. At his feet knelt captured colonists, emaciated, silent, their chains clinking softly in the vast chamber. "You see," Vorincaw's voice rumbled, carrying the resonance of arrogance. "The ghosts are myths. Beasts fall. Soldiers prevail. Humanity bends." He raised a clawed hand, gesturing toward the prisoners. "Their resistance ends today." The words echoed across the chamber, but from the shadows above, unseen, humanity's reply was already waiting. Jack Harper crouched in the rafters, breath shallow, rifle steady. Every nerve burned, his wounded shoulder pulsing with each heartbeat. Cole shifted beside him, blade drawn, face set in grim determination. The plan was simple. Simple, but not easy. End the general, and the Dominion's hunt would falter. Cut off the head, and the Empire's grip on Cryon 7 would loosen. Jack's scope aligned with Vorincaw's skull ridge. His finger tightened on the trigger. But the general turned, raising his arms in proclamation. "Let the Dominion witness. Today, we erase their fear of phantoms." Applause thundered from the assembled soldiers. The prisoners lowered their heads in despair. Jack exhaled. The shot had to come not in chaos, but in silence, in judgment. "Harper," Cole whispered. "Take him now." "Not yet." Cole's jaw clenched. "Wait too long, and we're corpses dangling from those chains." Jack didn't answer. His eyes stayed fixed on the scope, studying the rhythm of the hall, the cadence of the speech, the arrogance that blinded an empire. He needed the instant that would turn theater into lesson. Then it came. Vorincaw dismissed his guards with a flick of his claw, stepping forward to stand alone before the prisoners. He raised his blade high, ready to strike down a captive woman trembling at his feet. The hall hushed. Jack pulled the trigger. The crack of the rifle shattered the silence. Vorincaw froze mid-motion. His body jerked, then collapsed forward, blade clattering across the floor. A clean hole marked the crown of his skull. No speech, no roar, no defiance, just silence. The hall erupted in chaos. Soldiers shouted, some rushing to their fallen commander, others scanning the rafters. Prisoners gasped, chains rattling as hope flickered in hollow eyes. Cole leapt first, dropping into the melee with knife flashing. He landed atop a guard, steel plunging through armor joints. Jack followed, rifle blazing, every shot deliberate, cutting down those who moved to rally. "Ghosts!" one Dominion shouted, panic cracking his voice. "Kill them!" another cried. But fear spread faster than orders. The fight was swift and merciless. Jack and Cole moved like wraiths through the chamber, striking with precision. Jack's pain slowed him, but his aim never faltered. Cole's blade danced, his grin feral as he carved through confusion. One soldier lunged to the prisoners, intending to slaughter them in vengeance. Jack dropped him with a single shot. "Not today," he muttered. Cole freed the captives, smashing chains with a captured rifle butt. "Run," he barked. "Move now or you'll die standing here." The prisoners surged toward the exits, some stumbling, others dragging the weak, all driven by desperate adrenaline. Above it all, Vorincaw's corpse lay still, blood spreading across the polished floor. His lifeless form spoke louder than any victory speech could. When the last guard fell, silence returned. Smoke from rifle fire hung in the air, stinging eyes and throats. Cole leaned on a pillar, panting, bloodied but alive. He looked at Jack, who stood over the general's body, gaze hard and unflinching. "You know," Cole said between breaths, "you didn't just kill a commander. You killed a legend." Jack's voice was low. "Legends die like anyone else." Cole gave a dry laugh. "Yeah, but the Dominion doesn't think so. Word of this will spread, faster than any patrol or fleet. You didn't just shoot him, you cut the throat of their myth." Jack finally looked at him, eyes shadowed by exhaustion. "Good. Let them choke on it." Alarms blared through the citadel. Reinforcements were coming. The ground rumbled with the march of boots and the growl of machines. Cole wiped his blade clean on a fallen banner. So, exit strategy? Jack reloaded, grimacing through the pain. We don't need one. Cole raised an eyebrow. That's a terrible answer. Jack nodded toward the freed prisoners disappearing into the ruins. They'll carry the story. We vanish. Cole chuckled, shaking his head. Back to being phantoms. Back to being human. Jack corrected. They melted into corridors as Dominion squads stormed the command hall, finding only bodies and the silent corpse of their general. Confusion erupted, rage boiling as the truth sank in. Their warlord had been executed not in battle, but in judgment, cut down in his moment of triumph before his own soldiers, without fanfare or duel. A ghost had done it, and ghosts cannot be hunted. Hours later, deep in the shattered outskirts, Jack and Cole paused in the skeletal remains of a collapsed tower. Dawn light broke over Cryon 7, casting long shadows across the ruins. Cole tore open a ration bar, tossing half to Jack. You realize what happens now, right? Whole sectors will hear about this. They'll spin it as treachery, sacrilege, cowardice. But the soldiers who were there, the prisoners who escaped, they'll remember it different. Jack ate in silence, eyes distant. Cole leaned back, chewing slowly. They'll remember a general who promised victory and got dropped mid-sentence. They'll remember that humans don't fight by Dominion rules. That's how myths start. Jack's voice was quiet. We don't need myths. We need survival. Cole smirked. Survival's good. But fear? Fear keeps you alive longer. They sat in silence, the ruined city groaning around them, the weight of what had been done pressing heavy, but undeniable. Jack finally spoke, almost himself. He called us cowards, said humanity would bend. Today he found out the truth. Cole's grin widened. And what's that? Jack's eyes hardened, cold and resolute. We don't bend. We break kings. The Dominion's hunt had begun with confidence, with beasts and trackers and banners of war. It ended with their general's corpse sprawled on a blood-stained floor, silence louder than any roar. For the first time, the Empire had looked into the shadows and realized the ghosts were real, and they had teeth,